I'm Brian Hensley with Intego Financial and our partner insurance agent, Donna Nelson Insurance. Thanks for joining me this week. I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about the 4th of July weekend, financial crisis from 4 to 5 years ago, and stress tests. My wife Sarah and I moved to Albert Lea this past fall. She graduated from Alden, so was originally from here, but this was my first 4th of July living in Freeborn County. You guys really know how to do it right, and you ought to be very proud. The parade on Friday evening had so many great floats, and we were positioned with Fountain Lake in the background, and it was just a great view. Great parade. It was a long parade with good breaks between each float, which was nice and allowed you to really see each one and recognize those familiar faces. And after spending the last 15 years in Illinois and Kentucky and Texas, I think I could really get used to the 72 degrees that somebody ordered up for the 4th of July. Well done. My wife and I really felt welcomed in Albert Lea this weekend. We're proud to call this area home. On Sunday morning, after catching my breath from all the activities of Friday and Saturday, I got the chance to finish another book. This one is for all those economic, financial, political, history-loving nerds. It was called Stress Test by Timothy Geithner, the former Treasury Secretary that served under President Obama during the financial collapse of the last decade. It was quite detailed and at times almost over my head. It focused on the activities that the government and different banks performed when the world's financial system was in a meltdown 5 years ago. As a part of the recovery, the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury put the major U.S. banks through what they deemed a stress test. This is similar to what a doctor might do when checking out your heart. Put you on the treadmill, cut your oxygen level, make you run for a while, see how your body performs, see how your heart bounces back after those stress. Well, the U.S. government did this to the banks by checking their reserve ratios, liquidity of their funds available to them, amount of capital they might need in a downturn. Well, some banks did really well, and needless to say, others really did not, and they had to refocus on becoming a stronger bank or maybe raising more capital. It was a scary time, and many on Main Street in every town across America today still don't realize and understand how much stress our financial system was under. As I read the book, I kept drifting back to the clients I work with, folks I've been meeting with. What if they were put under the financial stress test? How would they perform? More importantly, how would you perform? What would be some of those criteria for a stress test for our own personal finances? What challenges would I throw to a client to go the Intego stress test? A stress test isn't supposed to be fun. It's supposed to either reassure you that when things go badly, as in having to run a long distance on the treadmill, you have a solid body, a solid plan. Or a stress test is supposed to open your eyes that something needs to change, and it better change quickly. Are you ready to undergo a financial stress test? First, I'd want to challenge you on your income. After all, most people I know would be under a lot of stress if suddenly they didn't have any income. Do you have disability insurance? Disability insurance protects you if you're to become sick or injured and you're out of work for an extended period of time. Oftentimes we think about insurance, we think about insuring our possessions, our home, our car, our jewelry, but we often overlook insuring our most valuable asset, our ability to work and bring home a paycheck. If you were to become severely sick or injured and couldn't work for many weeks or months, how long would you be able to pay your monthly bills? This would be a real stress. The second stress I would put clients under is removing them or another family member from the family completely because of an unexpected tragedy. This part would do a review on your life insurance. If you didn't come home, would your family be able to stay in the same home, pay your bills? Some people want to know their spouse will be cared for going forward. A 2013 study found that 50% of U.S. households say they need more insurance. Sounds like me, 50% of us are admitting we'd failed this portion of the stress test. What frustrates me the most is that we failed because we didn't have the facts. Another stat from that same survey in 2013 said, get this, 86% don't purchase life insurance because they thought it was too expensive. They didn't know the true costs. Retirement planning would be a final stress test. Are you saving enough? What's enough? Do you put money into your retirement account every week from your every paycheck and hope that someday, hopefully when we reach some magic retirement age, that magically it's achieved the amount we need? Lots of people do this every week, every month. Others seem to hoard and hoard and hoard money, and when we start talking about their goals, they realize they've not only met them but surpassed them. That's great. It's like being on the treadmill for that stress test with your doctor, looking at him, wearing all the crazy oxygen equipment and hollering, "That's all you got? Turn this treadmill up a bit." While that would be great, I'll be real honest. It happens to a few clients, but most need a little direction and are huffing and puffing as they go through this stress test. But really, how do you know if you're saving enough? There's so many things to worry about. Longevity is the concern that you will outlive your retirement assets. People today are living longer. Here's a statistic that always surprises people. If you have a couple and they both live to age 65, there's a 62% chance that one of them will live to be 90. 90 years old. 62% chance. The days of retiring at 65 and only needing to save for maybe 10 years are long gone. How can you stretch your retirement dollars for 25 years? Inflation is another stress test to run through your retirement plan. Inflation refers to a general rise in price of goods. So if you retire at 65 today and something costs $70, at today's 3% inflation rate, by the time you're 85, it'll cost twice that amount. Inflation kills your retirement savings, and it's a big stress. We talked about doctors earlier, and healthcare costs are another stress. Healthcare costs are soaring well above the average inflation rate, and retirees are bearing that burden. Some are hopeful that the government, Medicare, Medicaid, Obamacare will solve this problem. I think relying on the government, that causes me stress. An additional stress test that we need to run through is asset allocation. The question I get probably the most often starts, I don't have the foggiest idea where to put my money. I'm afraid of making a mistake. Where do I put my retirement money? That is so true for so many clients. While that is a very hard challenge, that's my job to solve through education. If you can't explain something back to me, then I guarantee we won't be moving forward. The final stress on your retirement plan is drawing down assets too quickly. In theory, many financial advisors use 4% as a sustainable rate of withdrawal each year to cover essential expenses. In practice, that number could be higher or lower depending on your individual age, health, and other factors. So those would be the 5 stresses I'd put you through on your retirement plan. Longevity, living too long, inflation, goods getting more expensive, healthcare costs, asset allocation, are we in the right place, and excessive withdrawals, spending money too quick. Well, that'd be quite the stress test for your financial picture, but it would be good to go through. It's important to start these conversations early and talk about them often. Thank you for listening, and if you have questions about life insurance, investments, succession planning for your business or farm, let's start that conversation today.
Brian Hensley is an investment advisor of and offers securities, investment advisory services, and financial planning through MML Investor Services, LLC, member SPIC. Supervisory offices 401 Southwest Water Street, Peoria, Illinois. Intego Financial Group, ensuring you are protected and covered for today and tomorrow. Call us today at 874-3419 or visit us online at integofinancial.com.